start out the morning service. Yeah.
There it is, 10 o'clock.
All right, good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Everyone please rise. Call this meeting, Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. This time I'd like to call on Commissioner Fincannon to give the invocation.
Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for just this being a blessing to all of us. Everything you do for us, Lord, I give thanks to you every day. Lord, just be with us today as we take on the business of the county and help us do what's right in your eyes, Lord. Keep us all together as our county family. We don't always agree, but just continue to be with us, Lord, and help us make the right decisions and the best decisions for the county. Through your Son's name we pray, amen.
Amen. Y'all join me in pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Take the seats, please. First thing we have up on the agenda this morning is the Wichita County Historical Commission will present their annual report and update on the court of the Wichita County Historical Commission activities. Mr. Palmer, you are ready to lead that.
I'm Becky Trammell. I'm the marker chair for the Wichita County Historical Commission. Just to briefly tell you about our membership, we have 30 members. Last year we put in 3,690 volunteer hours. Robert Palmer is our chairman. Rice Blair is the archivist for our Wichita County Archives. John Yates is one of our very valuable volunteers down at the archives. In 2021, we submitted 3 historical marker applications for Ralph Harvey, Lloyd Ruby, and Providence Baptist Church. Those were all approved. We also received an Undertow marker, which means it's a free marker for aviatrix Jimmy Cole. This past week, we received a historical marker for St. John Baptist Church. Thanks to Mark Beecham and the Precinct 1 crew for their assistance in receiving this marker and for the setting of the marker at the church. We'll have a dedication for that marker in the near future. I'd like to thank Commissioner Fincannon and crew Precinct 2 for their help in resetting the marker for Clara Church that was vandalized. What joy people get from vandalizing historical markers, I don't know, but that was one. Additionally, I'd like to thank the city of Burke Burnett for resetting the John Harden marker that was vandalized. So in 2021, we had 2 markers that were visibly vandalized that we know of. Our big projects for the year, number 1, in late 20, we started a project on a book honoring the women of Wichita County. It was a joint project between the Commission, the Archives, and the Museum of North Texas History. We had, I can't remember the exact number, 8 to 9 people who contributed stories to our book. All of those people were members of the Historical Commission. And I'm very proud to say that this is our book. If you haven't seen it, this is Women of Wichita County. We are very proud of that. We had an initial printing of about 70 books. We had a book signing in December. We sold out quickly. We had more requests for books. So we have a second printing. We're going to have a second book signing April the 2nd, and we have a limited edition hardback copy. And while I'm thinking about it, I would like to present the judge with a copy of our book.
Oh, wow.
Our second big project, really focused in the archives, was tapes. As you well know, many speeches, presentations were put on these little cassettes back in the 80s and 90s. Well, we have boxes of 80s and 90s cassettes with very, very interesting information on them. How many people in here have a cassette player? So, and this is focusing on John, who's been working on this diligently, to take these cassette tapes, digitize them, so that now if you have a computer, you can listen to these tapes. A further thing that we're doing is transcribing all of these events, all of these speeches, all of these oral histories, so that even if you don't have a computer, you can come to the archives and get a copy of this. This information has already been used in research that people are doing. Finally, I would like to invite everyone to come to the Wichita County Archives, which is housed in the Museum of North Texas History. I wish I had $1 for every phone call, every person, every entity that calls and contacts the archives for information. In the past few weeks, we've been working extensively with Midwestern, working on their 100th anniversary. They've been coming to us for information and pictures. As you may or may not know, we house the Times Record News collection. When the Times Record News was rolling their archives out to the dumpster, we were there to receive it and bring it over. So we have that, which is a wonderful, wonderful asset to us. The archives is very important to our community. It's the heartbeat of our historical commission. If you haven't been there, if you don't know about it, please come and see us. Finally, I got real industrious and made business cards. So I'd like to give the commissioners a business card if you have any questions. Or if you think of something that would benefit from having a historical marker or would benefit from being researched, please contact us. That's what we're here for. We mark history. That's our motto. Thank y'all very much.
I have a project for you.
Here we are.
All right, so in our construction remodel, we'll have a new lobby that exits out the elevator to the backside where the old jail is. In that lobby, I'm going to have a glass display case that I want to tell little vignettes of the colorful people and things that happened in this courthouse in the last 100 years.
We're here for
So
you.
I need some help. We've got about a year and a half to put it together. So,
Mark, let's get together and talk.
Okay.
So that both of us have a clear direction on it.
Yep.
But yeah, that's something we can definitely help with because I'm sure we already have the pictures, the
yep,
stories.
I figured you did. I just hadn't got there yet.
We do. Come see us.
Perfect. It's going to be a neat thing. So.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. Any way that we can show, any way that we can root people in our past.
Yeah.
You know that we know where we're going.
There's so many wonderful people that passed through the doors and
And so
wonderful
many
stories. And, we need to tell little vignettes of the story of this building.
Good. We'll help.
Commissioner, you worried me a little bit when you said colorful people.
We have quite a few of them.
Well,
We've all known a bunch of them.
Sheriff Ham Vance, I mean, he was
Yeah.
a very colorful character, and some others.
We have quite a few.
Becky, is that Times and Record News deal on microfiche?
No.
It's not. It's the actual.
It is the actual, it's their archives. The clippings from the newspaper,
Wow.
quite a few of the actual pictures that appear in the newspaper. We utilized many of those pictures in the women's book.
Well, that's priceless, isn't it?
Oh,
That's,
it is.
yeah.
It truly is. And it was going out the back door
Oh.
of the house. We were very, very lucky to have intercepted that. Our former archivist, Bill Stewart, put in a lot of work, and not just please, we want your archives, but physical labor in getting all of those.
Oh, yeah.
30 or 40 file cabinets filled.
Wow.
Not just a couple of deals, but filled with information.
Well, that was a good save.
Yes, it was.
Good save.
I'd like to bring up one thing. Yeah. I've worked with, or been in contact with you recently about a marker there in Burke.
Right.
And I'm just bringing this out so the public can know because they're watching. When you get a marker approved, it's not uncommon for it to take a year to 3 years.
As I mentioned, the marker that Commissioner Beecham's precinct received, that marker has been in the works for 3 years. And
Right.
that was an instance of a perfect storm. The state had to change boundaries. The foundry that had been doing it since historic markers, the plaque started, went out of business. They had to put it out for bid. They finally got another foundry, which is in Indiana. I didn't care for that. And then COVID hit. it was just that 3 years is too long.
Right.
It's usually 18 months to 2 years. And whenever we make applications, I tell people, this is not a apply today, marker tomorrow. It is not when you're working on this day.
And the reason I bring that up, we're working with the church in Burke that's going to have their 100-year anniversary this coming, I believe it's this fall.
Yeah, they're wanting to have something on Labor Day.
And they got it all approved, approved quite a while ago, but it looks like right now their historical marker will not be ready in time for their grand opening. And the pastor there is like, that's like having your birthday party and somebody forgetting the birthday cake.
Yes.
It really is. So we're looking for some other options, but something else I would like to bring, and I would like to ask the public this. Those markers that are damaged, there is not a way to fix them. No. There's not state funding to fix them. There's not county funding to fix them. So the one that was damaged at Clara Church, my guys, we had to do what we could do to repair that thing and get it put back up. So I'm asking if the public, there's a lot of good people in Wichita County, but if you know of a way that you might be able to assist in repairing some of these markers, because there's not another option. There's not a place we can send them to have them fixed. So if somebody in the public knows of somebody that has the ability to work on those, metal work those, make the posts for them and anything like that, please feel free to contact me anytime. Because right now we don't have a way to do it.
It is a challenge. There are a number of markers in Wichita County that have been used for target practice.
Right.
And there are a number of markers in the county that have been damaged in other ways.
Right.
We had at least a 2-year process to get a marker damaged out west of Burke Burnett that had been hit by one of the machines that they were putting the underground lines in. It was 2 years back and forth to get the company that actually damaged it to pay for the resetting. So it is a process, and if there is anyone who is willing to contribute to a fund for that,
Right.
We would certainly be be more than happy to talk with them and help them do something like that. And I'm not sure if it would require us to do something like a nonprofit, so that could be a charitable donation. I was thinking about this over the weekend. Matter of fact, since you and I had spoken about that, whether maybe something like that might be an option.
The Museum of North Texas History is a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit, but it's separate from the archives. The archives is housed in the museum, but they're two separate entities. The archives is kind of the pseudo-governmental
It is a governmental.
Yeah.
And money the Commissioner's Court has to accept it, but money could be given to that. But it's much more flexible if the Museum of North Texas History would accept that and earmark that and keep it aside.
They could fund for that repair. The museum could. They could pay for any repair to that they wanted to, especially on donated money.
That would require the museum board's acceptance of that, and that would require the museum to change their guidelines in a way, because they're getting away from their mission in working with the historical markers. It's something that can be looked at. I was even approached one time about setting up a Friends of the Wichita County Historical Commission, which could be a small nonprofit just to assist with the historical commission.
Might even check into whether that would be a qualifying agency to donate to, because it is. That's going to take some research, because it is a quasi. In other words, that's provided for the Wichita County Historical Commission in the statute. So, the only reason I said the court, it would be cumbersome, but it could be done here. I mean, we could do it, have the auditor set aside a fund for that, and people could, make a donation if they wanted to. That could be done.
That would be nice, because the Historical Commission advised us about 2 weeks ago that the 1st of April they're having another meeting, and the cost of historical markers are going up. At present time, it's $1,900 for the large marker. So I'm guessing it will clearly be over $2,000. now. And I'm sure that the non-refundable application fee will also go up at that time. So it's like everything else, it's getting more and more expensive.
You know, that's interesting, that we have a state agency that charges an application fee to carry out something that it set up law for us to do.
And I feel the same way about that, except those undertow markers that are free markers, those are funded by that
Okay.
non-refundable
All right.
application fee. So, and as soon as we get the Jimmy Colt marker, Wichita County will have benefited 3 times from undertow markers.
So what's the difference in an undertow marker and a standard marker?
Undertow is free.
Well, I mean, but what qualifies the particular
It's a
event or
separate,
person?
separate application cycle, which is really the only difference in it.
Okay.
They are usually looking, undertold by definition is stories that otherwise no one would know about. The undertold markers usually focus on cultural issues, women's issues, and that's just 2 examples. They have an extensive list of issues that they specifically focus on for those markers.
Okay.
But like I said, Wichita County's gotten 3 of those.
That's great.
Well, we certainly appreciate the support we've gotten 50 years from you, and when we ask for something, you're eager to help us, and we're so appreciative of what you do.
I say one of the thought, if we set up a budget line and those donations came in and set it up under you all, much like archives, or under archives, then with our guidelines of, you only come back to court for $5,000 expenditures, well, let's work on that. We can,
I like that. I like that because that way it would stay. We don't have to get the museum and through their budgetary
Right.
stuff involved in it. We can keep all that separate, and the commingling stuff, you're going to have problems. But yes. Any other questions?
okay. Well, that's just great.
Thank you, y'all, for the work y'all do. It's so important and that we keep our history and know our history.
And we'll now go out and play in the rain.
I'll be out there.
Like a good
Those 2
plan.
guys with you won't, but
I will. Bye.
thanks for the book. We'll put it out here where it can be seen. All right, very good. Okay.
I got a text, Judge, after we had brought that up and said that the library has the TRN micro film goes all the way back. So I didn't know that, but it's good to know.
That is good to know. Wow. Just if it's readable.
And besides that, it tells us somebody's watching. So anyway, somebody's paying
By
attention.
our friend Lynn.
Could be.
All right. It is 10:18, and we are down to public comment.
Judge, I'd just like to bring up for all those that didn't know about the sudden death of Myra over the weekend, and that was just a shock to everyone, I think, and she just did so much for the teen court in Wichita County, very involved, always had it at the forefront of her mind on things she'd done, and it just, she was just a great person, and hate to have that loss.
I wouldn't say this about many people, but she's one that's going to be almost impossible to replace. And her love and dedication for those kids, it's going to be hard pressed to find somebody to fill those shoes.
That service is 1 o'clock Thursday. If those who run in, you're going to inter Myra and batch time.
Yes.
Visitation Wednesday night, so you guys won't be here 6 to 7.
Okay.
Her impacts well beyond the boundaries of Wichita County, for sure.
Okay.
Judge also got to participate in a feed on Saturday for a faith mission, and all of y'all that haven't been exposed or been around those great group of fellows that come and go. I'm amazed at the number of individuals there from the Ardmore, Oklahoma area, or maybe all that Carter County and all those different areas out there. Just a great group of guys, and something annually that goes on in conjunction with St. Joseph's Day. But it was a great opportunity, and they just do a tremendous service for our community. It's beyond words. So I'm very proud to always help.
And we've all been reminded over the last couple of days how valuable our firefighters are in this country. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Tough couple of days.
I asked Mr. Burgoyne to come this morning to kind of give us a review of what took place yesterday. He was welcome home from his vacation, saddle up, and get to work.
Good morning. Like Joe said, he asked me to come and give you all a little breakdown of what happened yesterday. That fire was called the Wells 2. Apparently there was a 1 before I got there in Hunter County. Yesterday was a red flag warning day. We don't get those as often as we used to. They kind of change how days come out. So when we see the red flag warning, we really know something has been happening. We saddle up, get ready to go. We got to call us. That fire started in Archer, burned the Wichita, burned 1,027 acres. That was measured by GPS, so it wasn't nobody's guess. There's a couple ways to do that. One is with a drone, fly it, and the other way is physically driving the bounces. So that was 1,027 is what was reported to the State Operations Center. The forward progression of the fire was stopped from south to north at Old State Road. And luckily, there was 2 plowed fields there that really helped to stop that, because it would have took off and gone a lot further, I'm sure. US 277 was closed from 369 to the bridge, to 368 bridge in Archer County, from around 2 till later on in the evening. It was closed quite a while. The really remarkable thing was, this was a lot of structures in this area, primary businesses and residences, and secondary structure like barns and food sheds or whatever. As far as I know, none of them were lost. None of them. And firefighting has kind of come from the big fires where we would dispatch brush trucks to go out and put out the fires. Now we've been utilizing a lot of engines, structure trucks from Wichita Falls and from all the VFDs that do pretty much structure protection. They get in the line of the fire when it's moving to where the head of the fire is coming from. Hopefully people have the grass cut short around their house, and when it gets there, they put it out with the engine. So they pull a line, pull it up after the fire's passed, move to the next house, kind of thing as the fire progresses. So we didn't lose any structures that I know of, which is really remarkable. There was some really tall grass up there. Texas Forest Service brought in Air Attack, which is the plane that flies. It's like a single engine aircraft that flies pretty high in the sky, and it oversees the whole fire and gives direction to the seats or single engine air tankers. And those, basically crop dusters. So we got 3 of those, and I believe each one of them made 2 drops. They went back and forth to Children's to get fire retardant, which is, they use that instead of water this time for some reason. Each one made, I believe, 3 drops or 2 drops out of 3 planes. And that really helped a lot too. Most of those drops went Archer. I got there a little bit late. I had a little bit of truck trouble there, but from the from what I saw that was there was 7 departments in Wichita County, 3 from Archer and 3 from Clay. And these guys just kept popping up. I thought everybody was there, and then all of a sudden I'd see another one. Kickapoo and whoever. So, yeah, thanks to all those guys that came. The others that were there were Forest Service, Department of Public Safety, and Game Wardens were there. Typically, they help us with the drone flying, which is too windy, so they bring drones, the ones that I have or the ones they have. Sheriff's Office, myself, TxDOT was there. They're really responsible. When we do a road closure, we go out there and close the roads, and I say we as in the Sheriff's Office will go out and close roads, but it's really up to TxDOT. It's their roads. They're the ones that bring the signage. They're the ones that come in and turn those signs around and have people come or not come through there. But it's ultimately the incident commander's responsibility to open or close the road. for safety. So a lot of people were coming up there at the end when it didn't seem to be a lot of smoke across the road, wanting to get to their house and whatnot, but we couldn't let them go because there were still trucks on 277. And then the Texas Animal Health Commission showed up too. I don't know how they got here, but how they found out that they came as well, provided support. There was no animals that I know of, dogs, cats, horses, cattle, none of those things got burned either. So it was a really good job Sunday. It was a working collaboration of 3 counties working together to get that thing, stopped. Any questions?
It is. I was out there. It's pretty amazing to see the local law enforcement get together with the landowners, get their cattle out of the different places, get them loaded, get them moved. But our law enforcement does a great job with, facilitating that. So just want that to be said.
Archer was out there, and we were, during this deal, there was really no county line. It was just, everybody was kind of interchangeable there. Archer, Clay were all working intersections and traffic and stuff. So it worked out really well. We have a really good relationship with the surrounding counties, for sure. We got Forest Service brought 2 big dozers, and then had a private dozer show up that was utilized through the Forest Service. How they actually do that. They showed up with those guys to work too. Any questions?
No, good, appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone on the conference call? Okay. It's 10:26, and they'll end the public comment period. Okay. I'd ask the court to take action on the consent agenda.
Change on item number 9, the PR 13, we are not accepting that.
Okay. You don't need my question about it then.
That one has been denied.
Okay. My concern was if we were getting the thing, is trying to eventually keep us to a master key system for this building. And as we do others, that we try to build that instead of probably when Richie undoes his keys, he weighs 20 pounds less every night.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I had a question on that also on removing the PR-15. Where are those panels going to be stored?
I have not determined that yet.
We had a bunch at one time over at Precinct 1 years ago.
I've never seen them. But I've got a place I can store them at Precinct 1.
Oh, okay.
I've got that whole back
How
barn.
heavy are those things?
They're
Like
pretty
that
heavy. I mean, they're 2 inches thick and 4x4.
4x4 is in size? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're not something we're gonna pick up with 2 people. We'll probably take 4 people to pick them up and move them around.
Kind of a 500-pound deal or something.
Something like that, I think.
And then on item 12, I'd like to, where it says for you to sign, and let's add in our county judge and not put a name there.
Okay.
Okay. Is that probably what's going to carry after the year?
Yeah, the reason for amending that is if, like you see the removal of concrete on PR 16, that needs to be acted on sooner rather than later, to keep the flow of that work moving. Without the ability to sign that, it could hamper the project, so that just helps to get the workflow moving along, because everything comes back to the court for ratification anyway. So, motion to approve with removing PR 13.
I'll second.
Okay, and let me be sure this, okay, on item 13 on the consent agenda, there was a revision from the sheriff's office, and it's for 2 industrial dryers with washing machines for law enforcement center.
2, not 3?
Yeah, 2 is what
It's 2 dryers and 1 washer.
and 1, oh, that's what.
Still 3
That's a
machines.
1 there.
But
Oh, sorry.
The amount is correct, the 23, 8.
I believe so. No, it's
13.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Fincannon to approve the consent agenda with the changes as discussed. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 1, general business is review and approve the regular bills for payment or the county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
Move to pay our bills, Judge. We reviewed those on Friday.
Thank you, sir. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Fincannon to pay the bills. Any comments or questions on the bills? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Item 2 is discuss and consider take action to approve bids submitted to replace the air handler in the future maintenance area with cost to be paid from permanent improvement fund. Commissioner?
Yeah, I've asked Rick to come and explain what we've got going on there. So, Rick.
That particular air handler went down last summer, or actually went out of service as far as cooling's concerned. The evaporator coil, cooling coil, is completely blocked with debris, more than likely, possibly from lack of chemical treatment. However, we did try to clear it to no avail. That unit is packed into a closet that's really small, so repair is virtually on the edge of impossible. You disassemble the unit to get the coil out, put a new coil in the reassembly unit. So by the time you spend that much money on a unit that's been used in a kitchen environment for years,
Yeah.
You can probably get an idea of what the condition of the system's like. So it just wouldn't be practical to try to repair it, put it all back into service. So therefore, the reason to replace it. It is not operational at this point as far as cooling. It does work in heating mode.
And ideal of what are we looking at cost-wise?
25.
I think I sent the estimates over.
25.
The low bid on that is $30,000.
I didn't understand the James Lane. You got two parts here. One of them says HVAC equipment, but when you read about it, it's recover and run the split system downstairs server room, which has nothing to do with that. So we have the description from James Lane's first floor air handler replacement AHU 9 for $25,131. And Trinity proposed the new carrier 39MN12 with not much else, but remove existing controls, reinstall, includes labor, materials, wiring, piping, for $30,370.
Right, that was the Trinity quote.
Yeah, but
It's kitchen unit. It's determined, it's called a kitchen unit.
okay. Is that AHU 9 on this?
No, AHU9 we've already approved.
Okay, well, my documents here are.
I was thinking we had already approved that 25 for.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
AHU number 9 has been approved, yes.
Okay, so where's my second bid?
I submitted 3 quotes for the kitchen unit to be on the document. I'm sorry? Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have a copy of the quotes in front of me. I thought I sent the ones for the kitchen unit to you.
This is what I got for
Okay,
that.
well, then I may need to regroup them and see what you have.
Okay, well, let's until we get the right supporting documents, let's table it till next week. We're not in a big hurry for that. We need to get it done before you move in or around the time.
Build time is the biggest challenge. I believe that's 14 to 16 weeks.
And Rick, when you say air handler, what do you mean?
It's basically air handler. There's this big blower. It's
The inside unit, basically, on the AC unit.
Yeah, so you know, there's a home unit, then you would have your indoor section and your outdoor section.
Right.
In our case, the indoor section here is an air handler that has heating and a cooling coil in it. So whether you're putting steam or hot water for heat, and of course chilled water is coming from the chiller for the cooling part of the system. And then it's controlled off the control system to either allow heating or cooling, whichever's desired by room temperature.
And this is a tremendously larger size than what we would have in our home.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, in that same context, you know, a lot of times, you know, whenever we get our weather changes like we do, they change in 15 seconds. And, you know, some people call me, hey, it's going to snow. These units don't respond like your house. There's a process of switching between the two. So, but to answer your question, air handler is primarily a way to move air through the duct system, whether it be chilled water, cooling, or hot water, heating or steam heating. And we have both here.
It's a huge fan with coils.
I see.
So this one is shot. It's gone for all practical purposes. It's put in '85, and
It's been in a harsh environment.
very harsh environment.
You know, the steam from the kitchen and all that stuff makes it back to that unit. Grease, you know, it's all been pulled through that unit, you know, for years.
Now, you were talking about some like buildup, and that's on the inside of that coil, right, where the water percolates through there. Have we got the proper treat now to prevent that?
That's what we, when I came here then a few months ago, we signed and we have a contract now where we have someone that comes out and treats our water on our boilers and on the chilled water system. I can tell you that our steam boiler went from water that looked like it was coming out of Rio Grande, and now it's really clear. So we're making some big steps in cleaning that water up. So what we do, we're cleaning the whole system.
Yeah.
So not just the piece of equipment.
I would assume there's electrolysis and all that goes on and creates problems, so.
Yeah. The water treatment system, you just got to have it, right? It'll ruin your systems.
Very good.
Yeah, let's table and get the right documentation. If not, I believe we need it, but let's have the right documentation to go with it. I should have looked closer when I sent it over, put on the agenda.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Beecham, receive update from courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and county courthouse annex.
Briegels is putting the floor in on the elevator at the annex as we speak. We should finally, and I've reported that like the last 3 weeks in a row, but we should finally open that lobby today. It's the last thing we needed to get that done. I'm still waiting on another change order for the downspouts off of the annex for reconnecting those. I did deny a very expensive one that I didn't think was necessary, just to reglue a couple of pieces of PVC and get water off the roof. So that's forthcoming. That's the only thing we're waiting on, getting that sidewalk finished. Here at the courthouse, found some really interesting stuff this past week. Those in the category of things that make you go, and kind of wonder. We had the cracking in the floor, which we did have an engineer come and inspect. It was of the engineer's opinion to remove the concrete around the cracked areas to inspect the subgrade, what was underneath. We found on the worst crack, it was over the top of a duck bank, for lack of a better term. So there was no backfill whatsoever in it. It was just a hollow spot under the floor where they ran the original electrical conduit for the building. So the odd thing is we've got 100-year-old concrete that's 4 inches thick with basically no steel in it and very little cracking. So this says a lot for their concrete back then in those days, and it was outstandingly made. The other oddity, when we removed that section of concrete, there's our famous column that we didn't know was there. It's really interesting, when you lean up against that column now, it moves about 1/2 of an inch in either direction. So it's not tied into anything. It's not weighted.
Maybe that's why it was abandoned.
Well, in looking at it, in tracing it all the way up to the top of the building, it does go all the way up, and you can see it on the 4th floor. I believe, and this is just speculation, I believe it was there as one of the 4 legs of the cupola that used to sit on top of the building when the building was first built. So when they removed that, there's no longer any weight on that column. The way they built that is they poured the pier first and then attached the column to it with no attached steel, apparently, or if there's any steel, it's long since rusted away. It doesn't look like there's any rust, so I just don't think they tied it. I don't think it was ever tied in. If you can take and wiggle the bottom of that column and it moves, so it's just free floating. Interesting stuff, but some of the strangeness you find. We did get the underslab inspection for underside plumbing last week, so in the first floor area. Well, things are moving, just slowly.
Very good. Thank you. How long is our elevator going to be down
Today,
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to speak with Rick on it. I suspect they were here over the weekend busting out the concrete in the elevator shaft. I suspect they got dust in the controls in them, which has happened a couple of times in this project. I talked to Pat this morning, and he's going to do some additional dust blankets to help try to help contain the dust better. But when you got jackhammers going, you're going to have dust.
Okay, anything else? All right. It's 10:42 and we're adjourned.
There's Lori and Penny here, and they didn't even have nothing to say.